Welcome children. I, Ruby Sharma, today will be explaining to you the Roman numerals. Now the Romans used different symbols for writing numbers and they followed a set of rules. The Roman numeral system uses 7 basic symbols, that is I, V, X, L, C, D and M. And their Hindu-Arabic equivalents are I is 1, V 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, M is 1000. So these you have been doing since last year. So I hope you remember them. Now there's no symbol for 0 in the Roman numeral system and it does not follow any place value system. The Romans used these symbols and a set of rules and they wrote different numbers. Now let's go to the rules to form Roman numerals. The first rule, repetition of letters denotes addition. And the letters can be added maximum 3 times. That is, it can be repeated maximum up to 3 times. And only I, X, C and M are repeated. V, that is 5, L 50 and D 500 are never repeated. So we don't get to see VV, LLL and so on. Now some examples you can see, I and I means 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. I is 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. C is 100 plus 100 plus 100 is 300 and so on. Now the second rule. When a letter of smaller value is placed after a letter of greater value, the values are added. So VI, where the smaller value I is placed on the right hand side or after a greater value V, then we add the values. That is V and I will represent 5 V plus I, that is 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. I will represent X plus I, that is 10 plus 1 plus 1, 12 and so on. You can go through the examples. Rule 3, when a letter of smaller value is placed before a letter of greater value, the values are subtracted. But here you have to remember that only I, X, C can be subtracted. That is, I, X, C can be placed before symbols which are greater than that. Now, I and V. So we can write I before V. Represents 5, V minus I, that is 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. I and X is 10 minus 1 equals to 9. XL is 50 minus 10 is equal to 40. XC is 100 minus 10 is 90. CM 1000 minus 100 is equal to 900 and so on. Now, here we have to observe that I can be subtracted from V and X only. That means I can be written before V and X. We cannot write it before L, C, D, M. Similarly, X can be subtracted from L and C only. C can be subtracted from D and M only. And V, L, D are never subtracted. So what does that mean? That V cannot be placed before a value or a symbol which is of greater value than V. And similarly, we have ln d, which can never be subtracted. Number 5, a smaller numeral can be written on the left of the greater numeral only once. That is, we can write ix, but we cannot write iix. We can write the smaller symbol on the right hand side of the greater one. That is xii, we can write xiii, we can write, but we cannot write iix. And similarly for other symbols. You see, I've given you some examples. Rule 4, when a letter of smaller value is written between two letters of greater value, we subtract its value from the value of the letter to its right. That means suppose we have xix. Now I is a smaller value which is written between two greater values. So in that case, we write the first x separately, that is x plus I and x is actually separated. Ix is 10 minus 1, 9. That means that I is subtracted from the right hand side value symbol. XLIV, the second example here, I is placed between two greater values, that is L and V. So we will subtract I from V. So XL plus IV. So in that case, XL already we know it's 40 and IV is 5 minus 1, that's 4. Finally, we have 44. So the last example that I've given you is XXIX. IX similarly will be together and XX. X means XX is X plus IX is within another bracket, that is 10 minus 1. So finally it gives you 29. Now for writing large numbers, usually we place a bar over a Roman numeral, which shows that suppose we need to find out 8,000. So we write 8 and a bar on top. It shows that that number is multiplied by 1,000. That it is when we write 10 and a bar over it, means 10 is multiplied by 1,000. That gives you 10,000. So for writing any Roman numbers, actually we know the groups of 10 thoroughly. And we know 1 to 10 thoroughly. Then we can write any Roman numerals easily. So now here I have shown you the two grids where you have 1 to 10 and the groups of 10. So suppose you have to write 37. Now 37 means what? 30 plus 7. So we have 30 XXX and 7 from the first grid you see, it is VII. 55 is 50 plus 5, that is L and V. So we have LV as 55. 91 will give you 90 plus 1. 90 is XC, I is 1. So it is XCIS 91. Similarly, we have 12, 10 and 2 is 12, 10 plus 2, 12, 59, 78. So I hope you have understood and you can write, if you know these two tables, you can write any number immediately. Now I have given you a few homework. Just you can do on in your rough copies. A few numbers, you can write the Roman numeral equivalents neatly. And then I've given you some extra questions with 4 different operations. You write the answers in the Roman numerals. And lastly, I've observed sometimes the Roman numerals is not written in the correct form. So I've shown you how to write the correct form. So I hope you'll adhere to that. So that was all for the Roman numerals today. Before I wind up, there are two more sums that I've given you for homework from your textbook. Number one, a bus started its journey and reached different places with a speed of 60 km per hour. The journey shown below. So you'll find the diagram below. The figure is there. Now you have to find the total distance covered by the bus from A to D. So you'll find the distance from A to B is given, then from B to C, C to D, and you add up. So similarly, you'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. I hope you can do that. Now the next, number 5, find out the time taken by the bus to reach A to B. Now I'll explain to you this sum. Try it first on your own. Now they've given you the bus travels at a speed of 60 km per hour. That is 60 km distance, a time taken to travel 60 km is 1 hour. You can convert it to 60 minutes also. So 60 km is 60 minutes. So to travel 1 kilometer, you find the time. And then from A to B, distance is 4,170. So to travel 4,170, time taken will be how much? So this is purely unitary method. First, you try the sums on your own. I'll get back to you later on with these sums again. Now we have ramen shop. Here, the price per kg of apples, oranges are given. Then also price for a comb, toothbrush, a pencil, a notebook, and one soap cake is given. And in a different box, you can see the shop earned 2,457 kg apples it sold. So the sale during the last year of different fruits and groceries are given over there. Now you have to calculate the total weight of apples and oranges. So first you find the weight of apples, then weight of oranges, and then you find the total weight. Number B, they're asking you, can you find the total money Raman got by selling apples? So you know that per kg apples is how much? And the sale was 2,457 kg. So how will you find out the total money Raman got by selling apples? So if cost of 1 kg is given, you know how to find out 2,457 kg of apples. So similarly, you go through the other questions. The last one, you make a neat table. After you do all the calculations, arrange it neatly in a table, then find the whatever the total cost. Read the questions carefully and you do it. Next, finally, I've given you the answers to the 12 questions that I'd given you before. I hope you have done those. So check the problem sums, exercise 1.2. Check your answers. If there are any mistakes, do your corrections. With that, I wind up for today. Bye-bye.